So, I've been playing the Bodhrán for a few years, very sporadically. If I picked it up once every 2 months, it would be a lot. And this week, I don't know, I made a breakthrough and I'm pretty happy with what I can do. Because I could hear what I wanted to do so clearly in my head. I play the cajon, I can sit at a drum kit. But this is just a different animal, it's a different approach altogether because it's a double-ended drumstick at the end of the day. It's called a tipper or a beater, or in Irish a kibeen, it being shocked in the Gaeilge. So, Bodhrán. The two most common patterns in traditional Irish tunes are down, up for a reel or a hornpipe. So let me just demonstrate that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can hear I'm putting an accent, I'm really accentuating the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so hand at the back. The Bodhrán is played with your strong hand, the more rhythmic of your two hands, that's the one you hold the stick with. And your opposite hand, your other hand, goes onto the back of the skin of the Bodhrán. Bodhrán is made of goat skin, generally speaking, and a wooden ring. And so I'm playing my 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe comfy here. Now, I can use my hand to dampen the skin, and it's recommended that you do so, and every now and then let it off. Right, so now what I'm doing, it's all coming from the wrist. Fingers are pretty loose. It's all coming from the wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm accenting the 1. So this would be for a reel, for instance. I could also accent the 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. A whole different feel. That's how you play a reel. Down, up, 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 down. Everything I did there was with this end of the stick, a tipper. I'll hold it like a pencil in the middle. This is a more traditional style of playing. A lot of the guys that play today play it much higher up, and it's a different style. So this one, there's more of a thump to it. Like how Christy Moore would play it, for instance. So you can see I'm using the other end of the stick as well for the triplets. Ready? Squeaky chair, apologies. So, very basic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, start with your hand. And the action, in terms of how you approach the instrument, it's like a dishcloth. It's like you're shaking out a tea towel. Or if you got some stale Guinness on your hand and you don't, you're wearing a white suit and you've no cloth around, you might flick your hand, really loosely. So your fingers are loose and relaxed. Your wrist is loose and relaxed. Practice on a book. Book in a hand. You sit it on your thigh, on the opposite side of your body to the hand that you're beating with. You'll notice that I picked up a book that doesn't have a glossy cover. You want a non-stick book, and that's what you gotta work on. One, and it's that speed in the beginning. Even slower. 1, 3, 4, 1, 2. And you're going to be very tight and constricted in the beginning. It's going to be very angular and not angular, but you're going to be very constricted. You're going to be asking your hand to do something it's never done before. But eventually it'll become loose. And it's a lot easier to do the downstroke than it is the upstroke because gravity's on your side, right? So that's the first beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's your hornpipe and your reel, depending on the tempo. And there's a few differences, but you're covering two birds with one stone there. The other very common type of traditional Irish tune, the oldest I believe, is the jig. And instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're counting to 6. It's in 6/8 time as opposed to 4/4. So what that looks like, if you don't know much about music theory and you just want to pick up a book and give this a go, you count to 6. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you'll hear that the accent is on the 1 and the 4. 1, 2, 3. So there's many ways to skin this cat as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just doing alternate up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? But I have to make sure that I'm putting the accent on the 4, which is in an upstroke, which is very unnatural, especially if you've never done this before. So 1, 2, 3. You can see that the next stroke has to be up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So that's how you'll start out with your jigs. But then to really get the pulse and the rhythm that a jig asks for. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To get that jig rhythm, the best way to achieve that on the Bodhrán, even though it's a little more difficult, is to play groups of 3. Well, it's 6. You're counting to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the accents are on the same place, but instead of going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, which is physically quite easy, relatively speaking, you have to go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. So you're driving it on like a train. So basically it's just layering up, downs on top of each other. And Ronan O'Snoddy, incredible, virtuoso on the Bodhrán, plays with Keela. He's got a great series of Bodhrán videos. They're black and white. I don't know who the video maker was, but they're well worth checking out. And he talks about how he thinks of jigs. He thinks of them as groups of 3 instead of 6. So he just counts in his head, as far as I can remember, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's the vibe he's going for, and it's as old as the hills, that, you know. So instead of going down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, we're going down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we speed that up a bit, you know, incrementally, bit by bit. When you can do it, when you can play any of these rhythms at a speed where you can actively think about something else, like for instance, as he says in his video series, if you can sit back, drink a cup of tea and watch the television and you're motoring along there, great, it's burnt into your hands, you know, it's burnt into your muscle memory, and that's what you're aiming for. So when you can play that and be putting your shopping list together at the same time, ramp it up a little bit, see how you get on, and then eventually, and then at that stage you can go out and spend your first euro on this tangent or endeavour. Buy yourself a Bodhrán. This is a tunable Bodhrán made by Pádraig MacNeila up in Dublin. I got this at Kieran Maloney's music shop in Galway. I worked there for a few years, and I got this for a good deal off Kieran, fair play to him. And you can see that this Bodhrán has a ring on the inside. Can you see that? And these mechanical fixings here, these screws, which are operated using a hex key, an Allen key. When I turn those screws, what you're doing is basically forcing that inner ring out towards the skin, which puts tension on the skin. So basically it goes from that note to something like that. Bodhrán, many different beaters and sticks, cabini. So we've got your reel. No, what am I talking about? That's the jig. The reel is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can hear that triplet there. The back of the stick is hitting the skin, and that's the revelation or the breakthrough that I managed to achieve today. Or this week, rather. Now I need to clean it up a bit, but I'm just letting you into the window. I'm giving you a window into my progression on the Bodhrán. I'm not in any way a professional at this yet, but I have put a lot of time into researching to see what I should be doing to get to that standard. So the real recap: down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. R. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. The jig can be played. The simpler method is down, up, 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 down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. R. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down. That's much more of it. That's a jig. Yeah, Bodhrán. And again, you can press. 101, your very first Bodhrán lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Send me a message if you have any questions. Be warned though, if you turn up to a traditional Irish session with one of these and you haven't put serious practice in, it's an instrument that needs to be respected just like anything else, whether it's a set of uilleann pipes or a fiddle. It's important that you don't just rock up and throw something that's very, very mediocre and that isn't in time over a bunch of traditional Irish melody makers, because you'll throw them off and you won't be liked. You'll be told very quickly to go home and do a bit of homework. So be aware of that. You really have to put in 10 minutes a day. As Suzuki said, you don't have to practice every day, only on the days that you eat. And the bodhrán is a great little instrument. It's so tribal, it's so, even though it's a relatively young instrument in traditional Irish music, I think it was 1960s, there's a great T.G. Cahir documentary worth checking out. T.G. Cahir is Ireland's Irish language TV station. A great documentary on the bodhrán. But came into trad music in the 60s, I believe, and you don't even need to be interested in traditional Irish music to take it up and just take great delight in just doing that. Close your eyes. If you're into meditation, I'm sure it's a great tool. But it's just so much fun. This video, and check out some of my other ones if you're interested. I've got a range of videos just like this on a range of instruments as an introduction to day one on said instruments. Thank you very much. Like, follow, do all of that, carry on if you don't mind, and if you're interested, as I said, stay well.